Yeah. This is my handler, Devin Cantel, and I'm excited when you come and see what we do. So.
Tim, you have a guest?
I do. Josh Stevens has joined me. He's a colleague, a new colleague, addition to the chamber. He's working with Shelley Davis and I in economic development. Glad to have him on board. I wrote him in coming with me today as a guest.
Very nice. Glad to have you. Sandy?
I saw yesterday Amanda Mercer is with Long Street Clinic. Amanda, I don't know what your official title is. She's
Outreach
she's a gala
specialist, I think, outreach.
Outreach. So we're glad to have her today. We also have Kurt from the Bradley Club. We're going to have them with a welcome. And I'll let Jenny introduce the speaker.
Great.
Thank you all for coming.
Yes, so glad to have all of our guests today. You're always welcome, and we hope you'll come back. I have a few announcements. The first being June 6th is still on at Green's Tavern for 6 o'clock. Bring your significant other. We'll have some food and some fellowship, and we'll have a good time. Then June 27th is the end of the year party at 6 o'clock at the Bradford House in Garden. So that's where we usually have our little meetings down McKever Road, Bradford House in Garden. And our year is winding down, so Dana is preparing to come on board. So any suggestions you have for next year, she's open to having those. And also, I'll remind you that she has to put her budget together. So let's, anybody that you know is going to ask for money, sponsorships, anything like that from our club, go ahead and get those to Dana so she can prepare those for her budget. I have the ones that were submitted last year. I'll give her a copy of mine, but if you want it again this year, go ahead and mention it to her that you do want it again. And I think everybody has a copy of this. The South Hall Business Coalition is meeting Tuesday, June 25th at the Long Street Clinic Family Medicine Center in Oakwood. So take that with you, make sure you go. And then June 7th is the Starlight Concert over at, Sloan, help me with the new name.
University of North Georgia.
University of North Georgia.
Gainesville campus.
Gainesville campus. Starlight Concert, June 7th. We haven't really had time to put anything together at the club, but y'all know where we usually sit under that big oak tree. If you're standing on the stage to the right, I'm sure there will be lots of people there that normally go every year. I know Bessie's going to be out of town. But we usually have a good group, and although it's not a formal gathering for Rotary, I encourage you to come. Let's all sit together under our big oak tree. You can see and hear everything, and it's a great place to kind of hang out. So that's where we'll all be. Let's see, any other announcements today? No other announcements? All right. It's the moment you've all been waiting for, the big shiny prize. I have in this box your name for every time you've been here, an additional name for every time you brought a guest. This includes today. Makeups don't count, so if you did a makeup, your name will not be in here for that makeup day. And you want my big shiny prize, I promise. So I'm going to stir these up, and I'm going to let Darla stir. Oh, you have to be here to win too, and Brent's not here. We're done. Maybe this one will be here. Sloan! Sloan won the big shiny prize! So because I have enticed you all for so long that you want this prize, I'm going to let Sloan open it and read what it is in front of everybody. I promise it's a good prize.
Oh, congrats. Fourth quarter dues are free. Whoa.
I told you to come to Rotary, people.
That is wonderful because the foundation pays for my membership, so this is money that can go back to scholarships.
So that's a coupon for Bill. Bill will take care of that for Sloan. That'll work out good. And the next time I show up, I'm going to shine a prize. All right. Anything else for the good of the order before I turn it over to President? No? All right. Well, once again, I'm glad you're all here, and I'll step aside and let Benny introduce Darla.
It's a pleasure today to introduce our program. We have our tax commissioner, Darla Eden, and someone from her office, Pam Clark, two experts on the ad valorem tax going away and new, whatever VAT tax that comes if you trade vehicles or if you just go out and buy a new vehicle, or total loss of vehicle, or if anything happens. So with that, please join me in welcoming our tax commissioner, Darla Eden.
How long do you like to take this person? Oh, I think 30 minutes. Correction, there is one expert here, that is Pam Clark. I am new to this office, newly elected. I started in January, but without a doubt, I'm so thankful to be your tax commissioner. I love what I'm doing. I love doing the work, and I think we're doing some really good things for Hall County, so stay tuned. A little bit about our office before we go into TABT though, a little bit about Pam too. Pam is the expert. She's been with the tax commissioner's office 23 years. She's the motor vehicle department manager and definitely our go-to person. She's there 7 to 7 daily. She's very, very busy. But she knows this law and knows all the ad valorem. She knows the property side too, so she's a very valuable asset to Hall County. And if it weren't for Pam and the great staff of 16 others at the tax commissioner's office, I wouldn't be standing. Because I think if I'd known this was coming on last year when we were running, I may have had a change of heart. But a little bit about the office. We have 17 full-time employees supplemented by part-time employees. Our office touches your life twice a year with real estate taxes, property taxes, and motor vehicle taxes. So at least twice a year. We have $150 million in revenue coming in the office yearly, and that's before TABT. Our TABT April collections were $2 million. So 150 historically. Of the 150, 120 million is property tax and 30 million is motor vehicle tax. The motor vehicle side of the business is about 250,000 parcels a year. So 250,000 transactions we'll handle for you, either online or at the counter or mail-in. And about 90,000 real estate parcels are mailed out each year from our office. So it's high volume, a lot of room for error. I'm out to reduce that error, great accountability of your money, and obviously customer service is number one. When you come in the office, I want you to have a great experience. And with Pam's help and the staff there at the office, we're working hard toward that. We set up a call center this month. We're in test pilot mode. It'll go live very soon, 1st of June. So when you call, you'll get a short message, and then you'll get a dedicated voice to help you with your tax needs. So, if you haven't been in the office yet this year, please do come. We're at 2875 Brownsbridge Road, the former Liberty Mutual building. We love our new office. So now we're going to talk about the title ad valorem tax. This House Bill 386, the first bill that passed in April of 12, is really 6 components. 3 are state income tax related, 2 are sales tax related, and this one part, the TABT. The sales tax part, what's most popular part about that is taxation on internet sales. So this part really is just 1/6 of the entire bill. Before we dive in, if you can just get this in your mind, if you can just think of this as it is replacing sales tax, and it's replacing the annual ad valorem tax. It looks like a sales tax, but it isn't. And 2 things about it: it's applied differently. It's not applied at the time of purchase anymore. So get that out of your mind. That's old world. It's applied at the time, every time the vehicle is titled. And then the timing is different as well. Instead of being applied at the purchase at the beginning, it's time, like I said, every time. But it's on a different amount. It's not on a value. It's not on a sales price anymore. It's not on the purchase price of the vehicle. It's based on the value. So if you can get those 2 things in your mind: the purchase price is out, value is in. And the timing, instead of one time at the beginning, instead of yearly, it's one time at the beginning of the transaction. So those are the 2 differences. So we'll illustrate that. So this tax is applied to self-propelled vehicles, and it's a one-time. This year's rate is 6.5%, and
due at the time of each title and registration. These are the events that are involved: cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, motorhomes, motorcycles, straight trucks, and truck tractors. So notice I didn't say boats and trailers. Nothing to pull, and boats are excluded. If they're not voter vehicles. And as I've already mentioned, all changes in ownership now. Private sales included, trigger. So what happened almost 3 months ago? Unbelievable. I can't believe it's been 3 months. What happened is sales and use tax went away, so the traditional 7% that you paid at your dealership went away, as well as the annual ad valorem tax, the birthday tax, is gone. That went away March 1 for events, for purchases after March 1. The normal, traditional $18 and $20 registration fee stayed, but for purchases after March 1, now these events are subject to TABT. So it's an alternative ad valorem in the form of a state and local title fee. This year's rate is 6.5%. Next year's rate is already defined by the state of Georgia Department of Revenue at 6.75, and then followed by 7%. And I can assure you that the Department of Revenue has very defined targets with this tax, and if they're not getting what they want and what they need and what's forecasted, this can go up to 9%. And it can go up to 9% starting as early as 2015.
Every year?
Every time the vehicle titled, retitled. It can go as high as 9%. 2016 isn't defined yet. So we're going to look at a dealer business purchase transaction. So sales tax goes away, birthday tax goes away. It is now subject to the title ad valorem tax, one time, 6.5% every time it's titled. And as an example, we're going to use a $35,000 new purchase with a $15,000 trading allowance. Now this is the old world, we call it in our office. Prior to March 1, this is what we were used to seeing. 35, less the trade-in, you were taxed on 20, 7% of that is $1,400. Our current millage rate is $26.59, so the ad valorem tax on this vehicle would be based on these $35,000 price. It's always based on these before trade-in. The annual ad valorem on this event would be $372. So this year, this taxpayer would pay almost $1,800 on this transaction. We're going to compare that now to New World. Same example, 35 worth of trade-in, less rebates, cash discounts, taxable value. The TABT is $1,300. That's 6.5% instead of 7%. And the annual ad valorem goes away. So this taxpayer saved $472, which is the ad valorem plus that 0.5%. This taxpayer is out of pocket less $472 plus future ad valorem. We'll talk in a minute how that's made up. Prior to March 1, when you and your neighbor or friend changed cars, that was not subject to any sales tax. This law requires that private sales are now taxed at 6.5% of the value of the vehicle, not what you paid for it. So you could pay $10,000 for your neighbor's car, and you come into our office and it's $13,000. We'll apply 6.5% of $13,000.
Sounds like we're looking at
The value of that state of Georgia gratis system that's in our office, we are an agent for the state of Georgia, so we have all Georgia equipment in our office. It is a combination of wholesale and retail value in ADA. It's a blend average of wholesale and current retail in ADA.
And then NDA means National Auto Dealers Association.
So this example on the left is a non-dealer private purchase example. Prior to March 1, if you bought your neighbor's car, you would come in, you would pay him $35,000, and you would come into our office and we would charge you $372 for your decal. And to the new system, now when you come in and get this car titled, we're gonna ask you for $2,275. This is a private sale. 6.5% of the value of the vehicle. And for simplicity, I use price and value the same here. So this example is a $1,900 difference, more. Annual ad valorem goes away. So the annual ad valorem, on that example, was, what did I say, 472? 472 in the 1900, that's about a 4 to 5 year break-even period. You hold that car 4 to 5 years, you will have saved in the long run holding that car by that long.
If you had bought from a dealership, though, you would have been paying that.
You pay at the dealer one time, that's right. So these are some examples. Values, car values on the left, times the rate. This is what we'll be looking at when you come into our office. It's been a shock. This has been a shock to many people at the window. They're not expecting this on a private sale. And some have had to be turned away and come back a little bit later. They have 30 days to register their car in Hall County. The state of Georgia did allow us a 14-month look-back period. So from January 1/12 to 2/28/13, prior to the law taking effect on March 1, we can opt you in. It's called a look-back period. We can opt you into the new system. So if you purchase a car in the summer of 12, you bring in your bill of sale, we'll look at the sales tax that you paid, and we'll compare that to the TABT that would be due. And if the sales tax is higher, we can opt you in for that. If the TABT is a little bit higher, we've had a few instances of this, not many. If the TABT is a little bit higher, you can remit the difference and be opted in. And you would definitely want to do that. You would definitely want to be opted in. So as I explained, if sales tax is higher, you opt in for nothing. No refund. If the TABT is higher, you can pay the difference and be opted in. So if you know anyone that purchased a car in the 14 months, 1/1/12 to 2/28/13, we're taking an active stance with this too. This is digressing from the slide a little bit, but we saw some checks come in March and even the first part of April. We saw you as normal out of habit paying ad valorem. You got your bill, you paid it, even though the opt-in letter was in with your bill. We're actively now have a dedicated person that's pulling those out and sending your check back, saying, hey, you can opt in. Please don't send us this money. Please don't send us this, because once we cash your check, we can't refund it. It's not supposed to. So we're helping you by having a dedicated clerk look at those daily and send those back. Because when you send in your ad valorem payment, we are required to take it. It's time for this. But now we're pulling them out and saying, hey, you probably don't know about your flaw. We're resending the letter. We're highlighting what you need to bring in. We're signing it and saying, please come in and see us with your bill of sale. So we're really trying to help the taxpayers because this is so new. And it really wasn't advertised right. There was a lot of advertisement in February. We saw a lot of it on the TV news. We did a lot locally with our tax assessor's office, but really prior to February, you really didn't know about it. And we're helping you understand that and trying to work you through it. Family transfers. We see a lot of these between these relationships. If you have a transfer of a car, if that car was purchased prior to the New World, prior to March 1, the person receiving the car actually had a choice. You can remain in the birthday system, or you can opt in by paying the full TABT. So if your dad gives you a $10,000 car, you can say, I'm probably not going to keep this very long. I'm just going to stay in the birthday system and pay my $120 a year. Or I can, once my first time I registered, I can pay $650, which is 6.5% on the $10,000 event, and be opted in and not have ad valorem anymore. Again, it kind of depends on how long you want to hold it. The risk there is, if you don't have the car for whatever reason, it's totaled, lost, you'll pay it again upon retiring another vehicle. You're out. There are no refunds.
And you're saying this, all right? I got a thing saying what I have to pay, for the license, whatever. Am I hearing you say that if you pay this upfront thing, that's more, that you do not have to pay them yearly for tags?
If you purchased your car between January 1/12 and 2/28/13,
Mhm.
we can opt you into this new program. If you were an owner of that vehicle prior to 1/1/12 and prior, you will stay in the birthday system.
All right, so I just stay what it was.
You stay.
If I buy a new car or get another car,
Mhm.
then I pay that one-time shot.
Mhm.
I'm assuming that's not paying taxes when you buy it from a dealership, or when you pay the taxes at the dealership, does that take care of this?
It does now after March 1. The dealers are applying this at the dealership level. If they don't, if they fail, if it's a small dealership, we'll catch it. We'll get
Okay,
it.
and then after that, you don't have a yearly fee?
Correct, just a
Okay.
$20 decal fee, but not yearly ad valorem.
Okay, good, I just wanted to make sure.
Because this is the new alternative ad valorem. Title
So-
ad valorem tax.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question. So prior to 1/1/12, birthday system. 14 months, optional opt-in, March 1 is here. Now, if this same vehicle was purchased after March 1 by dad and then transferred down to son or daughter, then just a 0.5% title ad valorem applies to the recipient. Just a half, because Billings has already paid 6.5, it's already gone through the New World one.
And since it's within the family, you don't have to pay. If you had done it with a friend, then they'd have to pay all over again.
Correct. Every time it's retitled. Very good question.
But if it's within the family, it's only half.
That's right, just special exception clause, that's right. Very good.
This is just a gift, right, what you're talking about here, basically.
Or inheritance, or
Right,
family
right.
transfer.
Right, so there's no cash changing hands.
Could be,
Okay.
could be. I may have had to buy that car from my dad for $10,000. You know what? It doesn't matter anymore. It's as a matter of fact, I paid $1 or $10,000. When I come in and see Pam, it's the value of that vehicle that I will be taxed on.
Right, but if it's family, you can prove, how do you prove those family situations? Is it a bill of sale, is
If
it?
it isn't clear to us with ID, we have to have an affidavit.
Okay.
Leased vehicles, I think are a bad deal. I think the leasing industry is gonna take a hit. Are there any car dealers here?
You're correct.
Thank you. I think, and tell me if you think differently, I think the 35,000 and under industry will take a hit. I think the higher end cars may not, they're not paying attention, they know what they want to lease and move on. But I do think the other, tell me if you think differently, let's,
Well, that's still in the toss-up stage. right
Okay,
now.
I agree.
It's,
It's new.
You know, we'd have to get Butch on the pocket.
and I try not to put my opinions in this, but I really do think this industry is gonna take a hit. I lease, so I'm thinking about this more than normal. And why this is, why I think this, the 6.5% TABT applies to the total $40,000 vehicle, not just the part you lease, not just the non-residual part. So I'm really only gonna buy $22,000, or at least $22,000 of that $40,000 vehicle, as an example. But now when I release, I will pay 6.5% of the full $40,000 event, and not just the 20, or 52%, or some percent of the non-residual part. Where we used to pay sales tax just on the non-residual part, right?
On your payment, that's all you go.
This looks tacky, but I left it in here as a reason. Prior to March 5/13, when we had House Bill 80, it was called a cleanup bill, that really cleaned up some of the unknowns and the things that maybe weren't fair, or just clarified some of the House Bill 386 that was passed in April of 12. Prior to March 5th, the 7% sales tax remained on the lease payment, on the monthly lease payment. So on that $400 monthly lease payment, you still had sales tax on that, so $428. House Bill 80 removed that. So that will help leasing a little bit. But I thought that was interesting when it got through. So there's double taxation there.
That doesn't suck.
And we love our veterans, of course, and certain veterans, are exempt from motor vehicle tax. Purple Heart, Medal of Honor, disabled veterans, and prisoner of war, and they'll also be exempt from TABT.
The other
tax, they get free tax. I was surprised to hear that too, that, veterans, we exempt the $20 annual tax fee, but not the ad valorem. So this is a biggie. New residents of Georgia are subject to
That's kind of well.
this is a shop in the window.
Just pay to get your house, all this stuff, and down there, like that, $103,000.
Right. In this example, of almost $56,000 in vehicles, 4 cars, it's easy to get there. The tax is almost $3,800. Georgia is allowing us to take this over a year, 50% at a registration and 50% within 12 months. The state of Georgia has this flag label, "Welcome to Georgia." I couldn't do it. So here's some examples of how easy it is to get to $55,000 in vehicles and the tax thereon. Of course, we tell them and try to ease them. There is no more annual birthday tax after this. It's still hard. You can add something, please do that.
I heard somebody say, I know, like they just moved here. No?
One thing that the House Bill 80 and 266 did 2 or 3 months ago, March 6th, it allows for vehicles purchased out of state to be brought into the new system. Used to be, if the vehicle was purchased out of state, we couldn't even look at it, we couldn't even touch it, we couldn't even consider it. Now, we can. There are really 2 kinds of examples. The first one that came out that has all the shop was, and a good live example of this is, say you buy a car in Hayesville, North Carolina. You live in Union County or somewhere up there on the border, you buy a car from Hayesville. Even though Hayes, or that dealership in Hayesville has a Georgia license, and you pay Georgia sales tax to them, say in 2012, in summer 12. Even though you pay Georgia sales tax to them, when this law initially rolled out, because that was a North Carolina dealership, we couldn't put you in TABT. And the legislators considered it, and they passed it and changed it so that that example, even, that they pay the Georgia sales tax, now we can put that into the equation of opting that person in. The other out-of-state example is, you bought a car in Alabama and didn't pay Georgia sales tax. Before this new legislation, we couldn't look at that for an opt-in. They didn't even have a choice to be opted in. Now we can opt that Alabama car in. They have a beginning 0 point. They didn't pay any Georgia sales tax. So if that's a $20,000 event, that $1,300, if they want to pay the $1,300, 69% on $20,000, they can pay that one time and be opted in on that Alabama car. Are we seeing that very often? I'm not thinking we're gonna have any volunteers to pay the tax. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention, and I'm really not supposed to do this as being the agent for the state of Georgia, but I'll step aside from that a minute and put my CPA hat on. This title ad valorem tax is not tax deductible. This new one-time tax is not tax deductible on your 1040 as your annual ad valorem is. The code section, the IRS code section does not allow one-time events, one-time ad valorem to be tax deductible as your annual is. Right. Right, that's tough. That's tough. We have the calculator on our website. It's also on the State of Georgia Department of Motor Vehicle website. We prepared, oh my gosh, when I got there in January, we started all these educational events. We have a press release going out this week to remind everyone of this. I think it's gotten cold a little bit, and we're still seeing people mail in their ad valorem checks, so we're going to do a press release this week, so stay tuned for that. We've been on the radio, I was on Martha Dollar, WDUN. We went to school in February to get ready for this. We've done a lot of in-house training. Because our church didn't know this. This is new. We had to teach it.
In January.
Right.
She came in, she knew what we did.
Normally, a lot of times Steve Watson will follow me. And if you need those pictures later this summer and you want to talk about the appeals process, it is interesting. You can appeal the vehicle value, just like your property tax value. You can appeal the value of your vehicle. You in full, right? We have to collect the tax in full, which you go over to, the tax assessor's office and appeal the value, and if the value comes down, then we'll write you a refund check. If they approve the value, and it's approved by the state of Georgia as well.
I got it, Darla. Question, where is the 400, let's say, every year, you know, the sales tax was there, and now that you say if I got a truck, my ad valorem tax is $350.
Right.
And part of that went to the county, right?
Right.
Okay, where is the $350 gonna come from that the county would use in their budget?
What Tom's referring to is we were used to a consistent revenue source with birthday tax. So this law allows for two new revenue sources, the private sales and the new to Georgia. Are they gonna make up for the annual birthday
Your
non-event,
property tax
not
will
getting
go up to
it?
cover.
It remains to be seen. If the state of Georgia has done these projections, they have not shared them with us or the commissioners at a state level. If they've done these projections, and I think they have, but they're not sharing with us what they expect and what we're gonna lose versus what they expect. And you know they have these statistics.
I'm not sure they do. I mean, I don't, let me share something, you might not know, but Darla was also the chief financial officer of Hall County, so she understands both sides, she understands everything.
Thank you for that. I know enough for Jamie. There's one slide, I could have mentioned this, and it's important. Of the TABT monies that we're collecting, seriously, we collected $2 million in April. We collected $850 in March. We collected $2 million in April. The 100% that we collect, 57% right off the top has to go to the state of Georgia. 43% state and local. And the way this law was put in, it's a little bit on the accounting end, but here's how the counties, here's how the municipalities are being made whole, and what Tom's referring to a little bit. Every month, now we've done it twice, we have to look and see what Gainesville, Flowery Branch, Beaufort, and Lula, what all these municipalities made, say in April of 12, what they earned, or what they were given credit to. We looked at what they earned in April of 12, and we said, okay, this is what they got in April of 13 on the birthday tax. You know, some of these municipalities are short. So we have to true them up, it's called truing up, and we take some of the TABT money and true them up. We'll make them whole, so they're not down, because they've already budgeted. So we'll make them whole. And then if there's any extra, and there was extra in April, because we collected $2 million, it goes into 3 buckets. A third goes to the school system, it goes to the city, Beaufort, and Hall County. The next third is split up, to the county and municipalities in our LOST percentages, the local option sales tax. And then the last third is given to the municipalities and the county in the lost percentages. The state of Georgia didn't give us those spreadsheets and tell us how to do that. They basically said, this is how you do it, and y'all figure it out, good luck. So we've had a real learning experience in the office, in our accounting office, on how to create it. Yeah. So 57% goes to the state right now, 43 state and local. That change to 58 next year? 42? Yeah, I think it goes 58, 42. It changes every year.
So that they get more every year?
I'm sorry, more state and local, I said that wrong. Percent more comes up.
Oh, good.
Hold on, Tim, sorry.
Darla, with the welcome to Georgia aspect of this, have you had any feedback on, because I know we're trying to bring new business and we're trying to bring executive level people, this has to be a deterrent at some level for that.
We haven't seen this yet, but I would suspect that, I bet some companies, corporations will end up paying this on behalf of. You know more than you experience.
I just wondered with this government, because I know Georgia will give a package to people bringing.
Tim may know. Tim may have already addressed this in some
Tim, do you know, like, is this something that the state is willing to negotiate on to bring big business here, or is it just, sorry for you?
No, I think this, I think a lot of our corporations that bring people in from Germany or Japan for a 3-year stint and they're buying cars, that it's picked up as part of their temporary relocation expense by the government. In the big picture,
hiring or bringing in, you know, your employees from another state, like, I wouldn't move here if I had to pay that much money to register my car.
You know, South Carolina has a $300 flat tax, no matter what vehicle you have, it's $300. Doesn't matter what the value is, $300, right on the road. South Carolina, doesn't ours is different.
This is kind of off the subject, but if you've been in the office since January, why is that guy on the billboard still running against you? You don't need to answer that.
I don't know, but if he knew what I do now, he'd probably be glad he's just not in that situation. I am very honored. I really, when I think I'm having a bad day, I just think back to what we were doing last May and June and July, and I said, oh, I'm great. And I get to go to work with Pam and these great people. I really am truly thankful. Yes, Tim?
Darla, what percentage of Hall County's budget does this, vehicle tax make up? And is it enough? I think about 2008, when we went from buying 15 million cars a year in the United States to about 7, and nobody was buying anything. And the variability, is that going to affect your local budget in a big way in an event where we have cycles like that?
All the municipalities have a year to get used to this new world, because as I mentioned, we're truing them up. We're making them whole for what they earned last March, April, May, and June of 2012. For Hall County and all the municipalities, our ad valorem tax collects $30 billion. We collect $30 million a year. TABT, like I said, we've already taken in $2 million in April. 43% of that's staying local. That's going to help offset. I mean, the private sales and the new doors are going to help offset that. But it's really going to be unknown. This time next year, it's going to really be counted. It's going to be unknown what's the budget for them. And for Hall County. And municipalities. Traditionally, the $30 million we collect, about 1/3 stays in Hall County. So about $10 million just for motor vehicles stays in Hall County. On the property tax side, we collect $120 million in property tax. 75% of that is for the school system, and about 24% stays local, 1% goes to the state. 24% of 120 stays in our local budget.
In your news releases, are you gonna tell people what they need to bring in if they bought a car in the last year?
We're also reminding them of the new location. I was out in the lobby the other day talking to them, and they said, oh, it would have been 20 minutes ago, but I went downtown. I said, no. You know, so we just have to get that word out again.
Where are you again?
At the former Liberty Mutual building, at the corner of Brownsbridge and McEver, on the first floor.
Oh, okay.
Don't go downtown. The city office is downtown. The city property tax office, and we're in the same building. They're on one floor, we're right above them.
Yeah.
So I think people think that we're the same.
So now you're not down by the courthouse,
Right.
To go pay my birthday tax, I go down to McEver and downstairs.
Correct. Pam, what do you want to add? Anything
I
big?
think you did very well, very well.
Any last questions for Dawn?
Who came up with this act?
Which Miller, he offered the bill.
He's the guy we'll have to go to.
The authors, there are 7 authors, none are local, but I think it did pass unanimously in April of 12.
If it hadn't been for Darla going out before us, we would not have media time as we have. She indeed educated the public. They went everywhere without this board. They knew a lot more before we ever got wind of it, really, in the state. She was out there.
Thank you. Well, you're the reason. It is a great staff, and I want you all really have a great experience when you come in the office. We're a dedicated staff, I'll assure you. You're welcome.
We're giving this water bottle. We usually tell people to come out and do some work with us, but I think you got plenty of work to do.
So here's what I don't want to tell you, I'm a little bit, not criticized, questioned, why were you in the parade? I said, really? I'm still tired. I can't be in the parade. I know we're doing so much, maybe next year. So thank you. Sure. Thank you all.
Congratulations to Sloan for winning our big shiny prize. And if no
on the Wednesday before the 4th of July, doing the, concert on the green, under the blue, or blue sky concert or something. I found out today they are doing the blue sky concert in July, on Wednesday the 3rd, and it's all patriotic. The North Georgia Voices, I think, are performing there, so I didn't know if.
I thought it was just spring and fall.
Well, we did, and then I found out today they're gonna perform on Wednesday. So I found that just before I left, so I can bring more details next week, and maybe we could consider that an option. It's supposed to be really a nice outdoor concert. Sorry about that, but I just.
Field trip, yeah. All right, of the things we think, say, or do first.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?